What is going on with TBC right now? Don't get me wrong, I'm still having an absolute blast playing through the Burning Crusade again, but does anyone else feel like Classic WoW just isn't the same this time around? And honestly, I think it comes down to two big reasons. The first one is the accelerated timeline. Because everything is moving so much faster, it feels like everyone's in a race against the clock. Instead of slowing down, helping people out, or just enjoying the journey, players are trying to maximize every minute that they have. There's this constant feeling that if you don't keep up, you're gonna fall behind or miss out on content before the next phase drops. That pressure completely changes how people play the game. But I think the bigger issue is the community. And no, I don't think it's just because of this accelerated timeline. It genuinely feels like players have become a lot more selfish this time around. Whether it's people ninja pulling mobs, refusing to help others with quests, instantly leaving dungeon groups over one mistake, or only looking out for themselves, those kind of interactions seem to be way more common than they used to be. I'm not saying everyone is like this, I've met plenty of awesome players, but there's definitely a large percentage of people who seem impatient, inconsiderate, and only interested in what's best for them. And when enough of those interactions start piling up, it changes the entire feel of the game. That's the biggest difference I've noticed between the original Classic experience and TBC today. It's no longer about building a community, it's more about what can I do to make this run faster for myself. I mean, dude, just the other day, I was doing arenas to cap my points, and I had to do 3 separate groups just to get my 10 games in because someone got to their 10 games before me, and then they left, and then those people left, and then I had to refill the group again and again and again. And just the other day, I did it again, and I played 5 different groups to get my cap on my pally. And being the good person that I am, I ended up playing 20 games to hit my cap to help other people that were in my group also hit their 10 games for the week. And I can't tell you how badly I wanted to just leave and start to do the same thing everyone else was doing to me. The player base is just so selfish, and as we get closer to the inevitable announcement at BlizzCon, I think Classic Plus is not on a track to actually succeed. The community has to change. The only way Classic Plus fails is because of the community. As we get closer to the inevitable announcement at BlizzCon, I think that if it's Classic Plus, it's only going to fail unless the community changes. Blizzard could give us the best possible version of Classic Plus that we could ask for, and the community will find a way to ruin it. They're doing it right now on the Anniversary realms. TBC Anniversary's economy is in absolute shambles. And as much as we want to point the finger and say, oh, GDKPs were banned, this is the direct correlation and why the economy is so bad. Sure, it's definitely not the whole reason, but it's definitely contributing to some of the factors. I mean, this was happening all the way in Classic Anniversary. I had a couple of friends that were rejoining and saying, wow, I never got to play back in the original. I didn't get to play back in 2019. I want to give Classic Anniversary a shot. They started playing and realizing how much gold they were going to have to farm each and every week and realized, hey, Classic's not for me, man. I'm going to have to buy gold or do something in order to do the raids every single week. And so a lot of my friends ended up quitting. And as much as I was in the group of people saying, oh, GDKP is the answer, right? Bring back GDKP and see how much the economy evens out. The more I think about it, the less I'm convinced that bringing GDKPs back would actually make a huge difference. And that's coming from someone who actually enjoys GDKPs and would benefit if they returned. I think the main result would be more inflation, gold prices would adjust, item prices would climb, and eventually we'd end up spending roughly the same amount of buying power as before. What GDKPs really change is the distribution of gold. Maybe 20% of the raid is buying gold to win bids, while the other 80% is collecting payouts, effectively absorbing that purchased gold into a broader player base. And this is why I think things would be a little bit better since that player power is now being redistributed. It's arguably a bit healthier than today's system where gold often flows in one direction, but it still doesn't solve the underlying issue of gold buying. A big issue for me right now in TBC is that it's really difficult to farm gold because so many people are just choosing to get it other ways, and I mean, it's because people are buying gold, right? It will not surprise me if Classic Plus gets the WoW token or TBC Anniversary gets it within a couple of months. It just seems inevitable. The community is just so much different than it was in 2019. So many people are just openly buying gold now and talking about it like it's something to brag about. When it's breaking the TOS, you're basically cheating. It's like having an aimbot script and you're playing Counter-Strike and you think it's fun. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. If I were to ever buy gold or just cheat within the game's over for me. I'm gonna quit. I would 100% quit and have no desire to continue to play the game. There's just no reason to at that point. You're cheating, you're breaking the rules, you're skipping steps that you would otherwise be doing, and that just defeats the whole foundation of what an MMO is. It's meant to be this thing where you're gaining, you're building, you're progressing your character, even if it's tedious gold farms that are repetitive and annoying to do. It's just really a hassle right now because bots are just dominating the open world. You can't farm gold, you can't farm primals, you can't farm herbs or mining nodes without being mass reported. There's just an influx of bots, and it's just incredibly unplayable right now. The way that I'm farming gold is doing my prop pally farms in Stratholme Undead, and then every now and then I switch it up and play on the rogue and do some stealth runs, herbing and mining inside of steam vaults. Again, to kind of drive home what I was talking about earlier, it's just the modern audience plays the game completely different. I just wish there was some way that Blizzard would give us to farm gold within the raids. And I'm not talking about GDKPs, I'm talking give us some kind of item or some kind of token that drops off of each boss, and then we can redeem that token for a flask, potions, just something, some kind of resource that I could go and sell on the auction house, or I could use for my future runs within those raids. Arena boosting is not TOS for whatever reason it seems. You shouldn't be able to do that, but yet it's still happening. People are paying gold, and a lot of gold. I mean, we could just say it's real money because that's where it's coming from. And again, it's not against TOS to sell items or selling SRs for gold. And to me, that just makes no sense. If you're going to ban boosting or try to take action towards that, or ban GDKPs so that people can't redistribute this gold, it just tells me Blizzard doesn't want you to make gold easy. It just seems like they want you to buy gold. If you remember, they did nerf the gold farms in the older raids sometime during Mist of Pandaria, and players were upset, and rightfully so. You have this gold farm that you're doing each and every week to farm your consumes and farm your materials, and now that gold farm just gets taken away from you. Meanwhile, the WoW token and all these other resources are in the game to where Blizzard could profit off of this. It just makes perfect sense that Blizzard doesn't want you to make gold easy. And so you could argue everything that I just mentioned, yeah, this encourages gold buying, but so does playing the game. You have to pay gold to right amount. You have to pay gold to train your spells, to get gems, to get enchants, to get consumes, and the list just goes on and on. Are we going to remove that from the game to where consumes and all this stuff is just completely free so that gold has no value whatsoever? I think a big thing to solve a lot of the problems would be giving players incentive to go do certain things. There needs to be some kind of reward chest or some kind of loot that is given to tanks and healers for completing a heroic dungeon. There needs to be something on the table for them to go and do these raids or to go and do these older dungeons. And if you've been running heroic dungeons recently, you know how abysmal it is to form a group. Almost every single time I have to pay for a tank or I have to pay for a healer. It's either one or the other. And as an enhanced shaman, I've been trying to spam Mana Team's heroic for the longest time. I still don't have my enhanced totem, and we're in tier 5 raids. Now, Blizzard could easily do one thing to fix this, and it'd be super easy, and I think a lot of people would be totally for this, is adding a badge vendor for highly contested heroic or normal dungeon loot. The Consecration Librum inside of Sethic Halls, that took me 30 plus runs to get. And guess what? A lot of the time, I was just doing a full run every single time, but the way that the game is designed, I only need that first boss, so instinctively, it's in my best nature to be as selfish as other tanks who have done it to me in the past and just leave as soon as you kill the first boss and reform some other time in the future. It is just poorly designed, so add a badge vendor for any of the highly contested dungeon loot, add the Pally Relic or Idol, whatever you want to call it, add the icon of Unyielding Courage, and of course, add the Enhanced Totem, Ellie Totem, add stuff that is just super difficult and not easy to farm. And of course, a super easy fix would just to be nerfing the heroic dungeons, making them much easier and much more approachable, but for whatever reason, that was the compromise for giving us post-nerf raids. They give us more difficult heroics. I still don't understand that decision. I don't think anybody was asking for that. Also, going a step further, Blizzard could introduce skip runs, letting us skip straight to Prince for people who are still doing Karazhan in Tier 5. Same thing for Lady Vash, giving us a skip run in the future once BT and Hydro come out. They could even give us a Saf and KT skip like in Wrath of the Lich King. Those Saffron enchants are still incredibly strong, and they're arguably better than the current enchants we can get in TBC. And of course, KT's Phylactery, a super strong trinket, very sought after by many classes. So many people are going to go back into Naxxramas just for this thing alone. It is just too good of a trinket not to have on your characters going into tier 6 raids. And Blizzard really doesn't have to do much to make the player base happy going forward. Just take ideas from other successful companies and other successful MMOs. RuneScape is a great example of this. Just looking at the pull system, for example, this has undeniable evidence and analytic data that it works. It's a positive thing for the game. Sure, there's going to be things that upset people, but RuneScape is living proof that the game has gotten more popular and more people are continuing to choose to play that game. I know a lot of players in my guild and other top guilds want GDKPs to be the answer. I would love to have them back, but my perspective is going to be completely different compared to the average player that sees the other side of this, that is dealing with the negative side of the community and how it's going to destroy the social structure of a lot of guilds. Guilds that are struggling to clear raids are going to lose those good players, and those good players go to the GDKPs. And then those good players are no longer in that raid, and inevitably those raids start to fall apart and end up disbanding. I seen it firsthand when I was playing with a guild in 2019. I ended up quitting that guild and moving into a guild in TBC with Babka. And then over time, as they were doing pre-nerf raids in TBC, people started to quit and do GDKPs instead of playing in that guild. They went from 3 raids down to 2, and then shortly 2 raids down to 1. And then eventually they ended up disbanding in tier 6 raids. And tier 6 raids weren't really that difficult. If you cleared tier 5, you're gonna clear tier 6 just fine. The real difficulty was keeping a guild together so that you guys could go into Sunwell Plateau. But I digress. I think that TBC is actually quite a lot of fun right now. Sure, there's a lot of issues, but there's always going to be some kind of glaring issue that everybody can point to the issue and see it, but what's the solution? What's actually going to solve that problem in the long term? So many times we were so close to having a fresh server, and now we finally have it, and it seems that people are just still not satisfied. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I personally think that we're gonna get a Wrath announcement at BlizzCon this year. I really don't think they're ready to announce Classic Plus. Blizzard has just been making the wrong decision after wrong decision, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Again, let me know in the comments down below, and as always, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you next time.